not even give them the airtime.
We're gonna have to really delve into this later, for sure. Can I make a confession to you though?
Oh God.
Are you watching this? Are you watching this? Yeah. Are you watching this? You need to get with it. Are you watching this? We on a TV shit. Are you watching this? You don't wanna miss. Are you watching this? Stop canceling our shit.
Hello and welcome to the Are You Watching This podcast. My name is Ellen.
My name is Chelsea.
And this is the podcast where we talk about what TV shows we should be watching. Because simply put, we are obsessed.
I do love TV.
And on today's podcast, we'll be talking about what we've been watching, what you should be watching, and our topic of the week, why we love TV so much.
Which is a pretty broad topic, but I think we can narrow it down.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way to start this podcast and kind of let our listeners know what we're all about, our origin story in regards to where our love of TV came from and why we wanted to do this podcast.
I love the origin story idea. Either we're superheroes or villains.
Yeah, I think I'm a superhero. I think we're both superheroes. I think letting everyone in on what good TV is out there is doing good for the world. So
Yeah, our superpower is watching TV.
yeah. Okay, so Chelsea, what have you been watching this week?
Okay, so my plan in the future is to maybe have more highbrow answers to this, but I'm going to be honest with you. This week, what I started watching is Scare Tactics and, is it called Buddies? The new Reba show?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So what happened was I was getting my nails done yesterday, and they're always are watching either America's Got Talent or The Voice. Always.
Okay, solid.
And so they got caught up on The Voice, and there was a preview for Scare Tactics. They brought in Jordan Peele. He's involved in it and his production company.
What?
So I was like interested in that. And then the first episode of Buddy started playing, and I was like, I'm going to finish that.
Okay, wait, is Buddies reality TV or
That's the Reba, like
sitcom?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's more or less like Reba, except new.
Okay, nice.
What about you?
I have been watching, I've been talking about it to everyone. I've been watching Shrinking, which I'm obsessed with. And I've actually been watching all the new pilots for like the new TV shows that have come out this fall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know, but like back in the good old days, fall was pilot TV season.
Yep. Yeah.
And because of strikes and COVID and all that, and also streaming, everything premieres whenever now.
Yeah.
But I still do like a good fall TV premiere.
Yeah.
Pilot episode.
Yeah.
So I've been going through that. And the one I really, really liked and that I just watched about like 2 days ago actually was Matlock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not watch the old one.
No.
Was not born. Don't even know what it's about. Went in blind. But this one, so good.
Okay. Who's in it?
Great question.
Like actors you don't know?
Yeah. Well, no. The main actor, lady, old, she's a legend, and this is terrible that I don't remember. Are we allowed to go on our phones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll Google it.
Okay.
Yeah. Matlock, new one.
Yeah.
That is so interesting, though, because I just always associated Matlock with old people.
Yeah, and I don't want to give too much away about the TV show, like this new rendition of it.
Oh, okay. Kathy Bates.
Yes, Kathy Bates, American
and
Horror
Jason
Story.
Ritter.
Who is the charming sweet boy of every TV show I've ever like watched him on.
Yeah, with Shoshana and the girls.
Yes. Yeah, Kathy Bates, incredible in it. She's like the lead, and it's really good. And just the twists and the turns that take place, you don't see coming.
That is
because I thought it was about old people
Yeah.
too, but the way they've written it is really good and engaging.
You've already sold me. I'm gonna go watch it.
You should.
Yeah.
You absolutely should. Okay, so you said
Scare Tactics and Reba's new show. I think it's called Buddies.
Okay.
Honestly, I should probably know that too, the title of it, but you can go find it. Just type Reba.
No, when I was going through my pilot episode, like watching what to watch, I saw that show. Did not get to it yet, but I saw the synopsis. Is that what that's called?
Mm-hmm.
Of like what it's about.
Yeah.
And very interesting premise.
Yeah.
The premise, maybe that's what that's called.
It's cute.
Yeah. Is that what you want to tell our listeners to watch? What would you tell?
If you're looking for a nice little show to put on in the background, it's nice. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that wasn't very convincing. What have you watched this week or this past, however weeks, that you're like, okay, I need to put our listeners onto this specifically?
Probably English Teacher, which they just wrapped up.
Yeah.
That show was good from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very short,
Yeah.
but you got 8 quality episodes.
Yeah.
And I loved Trixie Mattel's cameo in the first episode. That character was so good, and it
Agreed.
just exponentially got better from there. Which
Agreed.
is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was such a good episode. There's one joke in there that I cannot get out of my mind. And I don't know if I want to give it away, but you should watch it. And it's a good take on like feminism when
Yeah.
the B plots. Yeah. It's
The whole
really
show.
good. Yeah.
And it did get picked up for season 2. I'm pretty
It
sure.
did.
Yeah.
Yay. As it should.
Mhm.
It was really, really solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Apart from Trixie, what else did you like about this show? Students, the relationship within the show of like how he's, with his partner. Well, I don't know, his ex and,
Mhm.
all that. It ended on a very sweet note. Let me say
It
that.
did, yes. And kind of not the direction I thought it was going.
Yeah,
They
me
had a
too.
little twist right at the end.
Yeah.
I think the relationships between the characters are pretty realistic, I think, in the dynamic that you have between people.
Yeah.
I also like seeing that side of teachers because, let's be honest, we know that's how teachers, maybe not to that extent.
Well,
But-
teachers these days, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends who are teachers,
Yeah.
and yeah, probably to that extent.
I mean, my partner's a teacher. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So I love seeing that kind of side of it on TV, and because
Yeah.
you got Abbott, which is a cute side, but
Yeah.
kind of the more
Gritty.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
what happens behind closed doors, what the principal's really saying about the student.
Yeah. Also, how sweet that the principal tries to work with the teachers.
Yes,
in that.
he's very supportive. Just also like, I don't want to get fired.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. Okay, nice.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah.
Shout out to English Teacher
Yes.
on FX.
Yes.
Couldn't tell you the time.
Was it just streaming or no, it
No,
aired.
It
Yeah.
aired, yeah. But it is streaming on Hulu.
Yes. On Hulu. Maybe we'll get a sponsorship.
Yeah. Do you know anything about the creator of the show?
Not really.
Okay.
I did like a little Googling on him,
Yeah.
and he's kind of done all this like small independent stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've seen him before, and I've seen him on TikTok a lot.
Yeah.
He's been doing that like dance trend.
Oh, I have not seen that. I'm
It's
also not
pretty
on
good.
TikTok like that, but
It's fair.
okay, nice. I've heard when I talked about the show to some of my friends, they really know who it is, and maybe it's because of TikTok, and maybe
Mhm.
it's his like social media presence. But yeah, he seemed very funny, and
Very good.
I'm glad he wrote the show.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have been watching Shrinking, and I think that's what I want everyone to start watching.
Oh yes.
If you haven't, start watching it. You should. And I'm really, really jealous that you get to dive into the first season. And we're into the second season of it now. And it picks up just where it leaves off. And it's full of emotion and care and curiosity and growth within like each character. And I just really love the writing within it. Yeah. And I'm like in love with Jessica Williams too, as are you.
Yes.
As is everyone.
Yeah.
So maybe she should come on the show.
1,000%. I would love for her to. Shrinking. Everybody should be watching Shrinking. I think I definitely want you to tell me what your like favorite thing about it is.
Yeah.
For me, it's the sweetness. Like the characters don't always love each other, right?
Yeah.
But they care for each other, and the way that comes out is like so heartwarming.
Yeah.
Love it.
I agree. Yeah. And it's sweet and funny. I think for me, yeah, I really like how funny it is. How it can make you like care and cry and feel deeply, but when it makes you laugh, you really like laugh out loud. And it's such a nice release that when it is on, I find myself not really wanting to watch anything else
Oh, yeah.
because I feel like it hits all the emotions I want to feel from TV,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is, even though it's once a week, I'm like, this is good. I've got my fill, my bucket is full, and I'm not really pressed to watch anything else.
Yeah, it's funny because as you're saying that and talk about like all the emotions you feel while you're watching it, it's a show about therapy and it's kind of like having a little therapy session.
Yeah.
Because whenever those emotions are brought up, you're kind of thinking like, oh man, I remember feeling that, or like I feel like that could be a feeling or something I experience in the future, and you're kind of like in your own brain working through
Yeah.
those emotions.
Yeah, agreed. It like helps you think about your life and yourself,
Mhm.
and you try to like relate to these really lovable characters too. Side note, I am a fan of characters we love to hate,
Oh yeah.
but there is something good about like TV that you just really love the characters, and no matter what despicable things they like get up to, you root for them because you know they're really just trying their best. And I
Yes.
think that's like the characters on Shrinking.
Yeah.
They're really just trying to figure it out. And yeah, I love them. I wish I like knew them in real life and they
Oh
were
yeah.
my friends.
And that they were real. like,
Yeah,
the characters were real people.
Yeah. The season though, I'm really loving the daughter's arc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see where that goes. Her acting has been really like good. She was I think everyone that acts on that show is incredible. But I'm really excited to see the emotions that come out of her because so far it's been like it's floored me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but we'll probably start picking it back up here soon
Okay.
because the first round of like the fall TV shows are kind of winding down, and so we'll pick up
Dig
onto
into
the
that.
second round.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you're in for a ride.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And maybe everyone else can watch it too.
Yeah.
You.
I probably will bring it up in future episodes. But okay, so now I'm going to suggest everybody watch Shrinking.
Yeah. Honestly, you will. So.
I feel like we're either going to have the same answers to a few things in this segment, or just go back and forth on talking about them
Yeah.
as they come up.
Yeah. Nice. Anything else that you might want to let anyone know to watch?
I think that's it for this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to do a little, I don't know, keeping score. Okay, so basically, I'm going to explain this really quickly and as simply as possible. For all of you that don't know, in the TV world, there are award shows. Before the award shows, how people get nominated, they submit episodes, reels, scripts to the voting body, and it's under this category called like for your consideration. So we thought that throughout this podcast, we nominate a for your consideration, and when Emmy season comes around or Golden Globes season comes around, we see if who we think should be nominated for those award shows actually do get the nominations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's
Who's yours this week?
this week. Honestly, I have Shrinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want, if I'm getting like specific,
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be nominated for like best comedy, like
Yes.
in that category, 100%. But the writing for this past episode, I think it was episode 3 or 4. I think it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Might be 4. That needs to be submitted immediately. That was the most incredible piece of writing of a TV show I've ever watched and hear and see played out, and it was incredible. It was also directed by Zach Braff.
Well, that checks out then.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know, but the creator of Shrinking created the TV show Zach Braff was on.
Oh, Scrubs.
Scrubs.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of hard because Shrinking definitely is a comedy, but there's so many shows like that now that are like, it is a comedy, but is it really a comedy?
It's okay. If we're gonna go there, what's not a comedy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is The Bear. And I love The Bear so much.
I rarely laugh in that show.
No one should be laughing, and when you do laugh, it's like it's so painfully obvious that they're trying to make you laugh.
Yes.
Like this past season when they brought in, have you watched it, by the way?
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course.
When they brought in John Cena,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like those moments, you're like, oh, okay, now you're trying to bring in the comedy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's real intentional
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, and Shrinking is kind of the same comedy as Scrubs, where there's a lot of drama and emotion in it, but
Yeah.
the baseline is carried with laughter and like
Yeah.
lighthearted
Yeah, I agree.
dialogue.
I agree. Would you say English Teacher is more of a comedy than Shrinking?
Maybe just a little, because I think there's a little bit more physical comedy involved,
Yes.
just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree, actually. And I think also, I mean, the actors in English Teacher, I feel like, do a lot more comedy
Mhm.
too. Where
Yeah.
in Shrinking, you do have dramatic actors.
Yes.
That is also what makes it really awesome. And now I just feel like I am going in on how much I love Shrinking.
Yeah.
I really do love the show.
I mean, good. You should.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah. But yeah, the season 2, episode 3, 4, writing, that should be nominated. That's my for your consideration.
Okay, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. What's yours?
The Penguin.
Ah.
The Penguin.
Okay.
It is so good.
Yeah. Okay. We've talked before, and I still haven't watched the rest of the episodes. I've only done the first 2.
Yeah.
But keep going.
Yeah, it is A+, top to bottom, and obviously Colin Farrell needs, like, he has to win an award for that role.
Agreed.
It is. The emotion on his face when he delivers lines,
Yeah.
you can see that he's powerful and he's trying to, like, make these people feel a certain way, but there's, like, a little glimpse in his eyes that he's a little nervous or, like, unsure that they're buying what he's saying.
Yep. Agreed.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm in love with it.
Yeah. Colin Farrell. Yeah.
So here's a couple of fun facts about Colin Farrell.
Okay.
One is a recent one. He just finished the Dublin Marathon, where he pushed one of his friends who has a disease, and he was running it for her. I know. So in parallel, though, because he plays the Penguin, he's wearing that prosthetic suit, so he's like, obviously he didn't gain a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
So he's like fit running this marathon.
He is. He is a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying very hard not to go in on how much I love these actors too, to not like creep people out. But
yeah,
Colin Farrell can get it any day.
I think too, Colin Farrell's interesting because he's in this show, deserves an award for it. He's also in the movie Dead Man Down.
Yeah.
And that is the worst movie I've ever seen in my whole entire life. So he's got parallels. You know, I'm going to check him. I'm going to check him a little bit. Like, he's great.
Okay.
But, you know, that was not his best work.
Okay. Was that recent?
No.
Okay.
No, I think it came out in like 2012, 2013.
I don't think I've ever watched it.
You don't need to.
Okay. Like, I don't want to. I'm a fan of like really bad movies that should be good, you know, just to see.
This was like an action movie, and it really was set up to be a good movie, and it did not deliver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Colin, and the movie he was in with, what's his name? Keo something.
Oh, yeah.
The Irish movie.
Yeah,
Did you have Banshee of this something? Assurance?
I always called it the Banshee of Ed Sheeran. Sounds close enough, right?
That is what it sounds like to me. Yeah.
Okay. I did love that movie. I think we should probably just put a running spoiler alert for, like, because if you haven't seen it, like, we're talking about TVs and movies.
Yeah.
Especially one that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Once the donkey died, I was a little uninvested in the movie. I thought they took it too far there, but otherwise, good movie.
Because you loved the donkey.
Yes, they like really built this donkey up as like an emotional kind of support and like bridge for him and his sister.
Yes.
And then they just took it away.
Yeah.
I don't get why they did it, but you could have done it in a different way.
Well, fair.
Donkey, not Jenny.
Yeah, fair. That was an interesting movie. I didn't think it would go the ways it went.
Yeah, definitely not. I had no idea.
And he was solid in that too.
Yeah.
But shout out to Colin Farrell.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll add them to our nominations. Colin Farrell and...
I need to look up who wrote. And this is what, moving forward, I'll like look up who actually writes if I'm nominating.
Yeah,
who actually writes.
We'll add the writers on there for sure.
Yeah, because that's only fair and right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our nominations.
Yeah.
And we will somehow keep a running score of this.
Yeah.
and see where we end up
Hmm.
next year for Emmys.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we'll talk about the topic of the week,
Yes.
why we love TV so much.
Yes.
Which I feel like we can put our notes
Yeah,
away.
I'm putting my notes away, and I'm just like, okay, let's just make sure we don't talk about this for an hour and a half.
Right,
'cause-
exactly. We know what to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when I think about TV in my head, I vision Kenneth Parcell from 30 Rock, and if listeners want to start tallying all my 30 Rock references, start now. So that's tally 1. I think that scene of him or the GIF that just says, "I love television so much,"
Yeah.
and that is I just love it.
That's the sweetest thing ever.
I think growing up, it 1,000% was a comfort. It was something that, like, if you're in an unfamiliar situation, there's usually TV there, and you can like watch something that you've seen before or like that's familiar.
Yeah.
And I think that the first show that I watched that I thought, oh, this is different was Arrested Development. My family and I watched it when it originally aired. So like 11-year-old Chelsea was sitting there watching this show,
Wow.
loving it, but on a different level than I love it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing we could talk about later is like how when you watch a show at a certain age and different period of your life, you just take something different from
Yes.
it. And I think that's also what's so amazing about TV.
Yes.
Is that there's so many perspectives, even though the script and like nothing changes in this TV show. It's
Yeah.
just you're the changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is your start with TV?
My start with TV was okay. So I grew up with but I have questions. Or
Okay,
should
I mean, it just depends on what you want to do.
Okay. Well, I did want to know. So your parents were sitting there watching Arrested Development
Yes.
with you. That's
There
awesome.
was like I didn't. There wasn't much I couldn't watch that was on like basic TV. Watched
Yeah.
The Simpsons with my family. Like it was just a free for all on that end.
Yeah.
And we did have TV shows we would watch together for sure. You know, Friday or Saturday, Sundays, whenever those big TV shows were coming on.
Yeah.
We always had something that we were watching together.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you have siblings?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I have 2 younger sisters
Okay.
that are significantly younger than I am. But even when I like go over there, we'll sit down and we'll watch sometimes like a show that they're watching together, like
Okay.
Survivor or
Yeah.
whatever their most recent pick is.
Or watch it. Okay. So when you were growing up, 11-year-old Chelsea watching Arrested Development,
Yeah.
was it just you, mom, dad?
Yep.
Wow.
And I was just sitting there, this is something.
Yeah.
And I think too, my dad was like, "Oh, the guy who is like involved with creating it and the narrator is Ron Howard, who did Apollo 13 and was in Andy Griffith." And I was like, "Wait, what? You don't just have to do one role?" And then like, I don't
Yeah.
know, that kind of blew my mind that there's so many layers to it.
Yeah, yeah. Ron Howard is a legend
Yes.
in the TV world,
Yeah.
movie world too. And like his ability to do different genres and still
Nail it.
make it high art is
Mhm.
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. And you watched it in real time. That's really, really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, up until it got canceled.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I started watching TV, or like why I loved it so much is it was a comfort for me too. I grew up with 2 brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like 2 and a year older than me.
Okay.
So we were close in age.
Yeah.
There were fights for the TV remote.
Okay.
So when I think back, it started with Nickelodeon,
Mm-hmm.
Disney Channel, Cartoon Network,
Yes.
sports.
Okay.
Also MTV.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you got a little bit older.
Yeah. My brothers would always want to put sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do Disney Channel. It was either like sports or cartoons,
Mhm.
and I would do Disney Channel or MTV.
Mhm.
And what we could all agree on though are when we did do the TV shows, like on Nickelodeon, Disney, Cartoon Network, we would just all be in agreement and sit and watch all that,
Loved all
you
that.
know, That's a Raven, Codename Kids Next Door.
Mhm. Oh, I completely forgot about that show until you just mentioned it.
Yeah, we grew up during a time, like,
yes.
best kid TV shows
They
ever.
will never make 90s cartoons like they did.
Ever.
And they're kind of surreal now.
Yeah.
When we look back at them. I loved All Real Monsters growing up.
Wow. That
And
scared the shit out of me.
And Ren and Stimpy, I had like a little Stimpy toy.
Wow. Cat and Dog?
Oh yeah.
Or Cat Dog? Which one was it?
I don't even remember.
But you were into that?
Yeah, Angry Beavers.
So you were Nickelodeon.
Yeah, definitely more Nickelodeon because we didn't get satellite TV, which is where Disney was on, until I was a little bit older. So then I was like Lizzie McGuire all the way.
That's a good one. Me too. Lizzie McGuire movies.
Oh, yeah.
All the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
For sure. And I think too, as I got older, again, I just started appreciating TV on a different level.
Yeah, same here. Like, do you remember what your first, I mean, Arrested Development at 11 is pretty mature, but do you remember what was your first, like you were watching by yourself because you really loved it or you fell upon it and then either it was in real time or you found it and you started binging it. Do you remember what that TV show was?
Yeah, it probably, for one that I stumbled on was The Office because I was just like flipping through TV.
Yeah.
And there was a scene, it was a scene where Dwight's talking about how he got the medical records for all the women that work in the office. And he was like, there's a lot of yeast infections. It's probably because we live downstream from a bread factory. And I was hooked from that moment on. And that was like, we would have like office watching parties with friends. And that was like definitely one of those.
Do you know how old you are?
That one, I was 16, 17.
So it was a couple of seasons in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you go back, like when you stumbled upon it on TV, did you go back?
Yes, but this was before streaming. So I had to go and get it on DVDs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know how to like illegally download? Okay,
Yeah.
even though we do not do anything illegal around these parts. But okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. The Office is a good one.
Yeah. It's not a dramatic show.
Yeah.
I don't think I really started getting into like really dramatic shows until, college. That's when you get hit and have your artsy phase.
Yeah. Well, I actually started with the dramatic pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was my exploration with puberty and all that stuff. So I was into like the teen dramas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the CW, which will forever have my heart, and I can't believe they're not what they were anymore.
Yeah.
Because they gave us so many good like teen TV shows and dramas. But I came across One Tree Hill. It was either One Tree Hill. I was thinking about this the other day. It was either One Tree Hill. I want to say it was One Tree Hill or Gilmore Girls, but I want to say it was One Tree Hill. Either way, I remember stumbling across it on TV and then being like, wait. And then I went online and I saw they were probably like 4 seasons in, maybe 3. And I just binged it on my computer in my room. And that was like, I don't know. And this is a little backstory for everybody. So I grew up in Australia. So when I reference childhood, there are things that happened there that maybe might not have happened here. Yeah. But back then, especially with the internet being new, we had like, what's it called? A certain limited amount of megabytes to use up. Was that the same for here? Okay. So when I came into like TV shows and watching them on my computer, it ate up a lot of the internet.
Yeah, all the data.
Yeah. And I just didn't care. It would take hours to download and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch One Tree Hill a little bit when it was on. I wasn't a dedicated fan. I did in the summers, TBS would do reruns of Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
And if there were days that I was at home and I didn't have any friends to hang out with, I was binge watching Dawson's Creek at like 10.
Nice.
But I don't know, that wasn't a very formative show. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this is something to watch.
Yeah.
But the ending kind of correlated with the beginning-ish or sort of Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
So I remember I wanted to tune in for the end of Dawson's Creek and then saw, I think, Gilmore
Gilmore
Girls after
Girls.
that. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting show.
Yeah, that is such a good show.
Mhm.
Gilmore Girls, from top to bottom. The rewatch value is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relationships are still there. The
Yeah.
small country, shenanigans are, the small town, shenanigans are still there. Yeah.
I think TV gave me a very unrealistic expectation of adulthood, though.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, what do you mean I don't have 5 friends I can just call up and go
just-
to a cafe with? And...
Just open their door and
Right,
help myself to their fridge,
right.
grab a beer,
exactly.
sit down.
Exactly. And what do you mean I can't just, like, bump into a boy and have this, like, never-ending, I don't even know, will they, won't they, or,
Yeah.
toxic thing going on.
And buy a 2,000 square foot home in a tiny town on whatever she is at the inn.
Yeah, exactly. Or like Sex in the City. What
Oh.
do you mean I can't
Yeah.
be a journalist and live in New York? And it was so unrealistic, but it was so beautiful and I think needed for our young minds.
Yes.
I think it's important to be unrealistic when you are young
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's how dreams like form.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should just reach for the stars when you're young because you really, what's limiting you
Mm-hmm.
that you actually know of?
Yeah.
Right?
Let's just have adulthood hit you in the face down the road.
Exactly. Which, it hits everyone in the face down the road.
You'll figure it out eventually.
Exactly. So, I really, really did love the part of TV that you just get lost in someone's world, thinking it can be your world too.
Yes, that's a great point. The escapism for sure is a thing, and I think in a way it has been unhealthy for me at times. Like I'll just sit and watch TV all day because I'm not in a great place, and that's not the best thing. But there's also times where maybe I'm just having like a hard day, and it's so nice to be like I can go into this world and just have these fun little moments and enjoy it and just kind of take a step back, a little break from life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good coping mechanism when used
Yes.
in a healthy way.
Yeah. Because there are really a lot of bad coping mechanisms. And I don't think TV hurts you as much as people like to claim it does.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are like, I don't watch TV, and that's really cool and all, but you're missing out on a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's so much different like TV shows you can get into. It doesn't have to be, I don't know, like messy or draining or toxic. It can just be lighthearted and funny. And
It can be whatever you want.
exactly.
I used to feel very like scared people were going to judge me on the shows that I was watching
Yeah.
at different points because like I love Teen Mom. And
yeah.
people would be like, what are you watching? And I'm like 25 years old at Teen Mom. I've been following it since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And so I was just I still watch it. I'm so
Yeah.
emotionally invested, but at this point I will just, if somebody wants to talk about Teen Mom, I'm there for it.
Yeah, there's no shame in what you're into.
No.
Especially now. They are terrible TV shows in terms of reality TV shows.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think Teen Mom is just good enough.
It's still on there.
Yeah.
They're still doing it.
Yeah. And the point of reality TV shows is for the mess.
Yes.
You know what I
of course.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't get when people are like, oh, reality TV is so, I don't know, like they expect it to be not highbrow, but better than it is or give you a good feeling.
Like they would be better on reality TV.
Right. Exactly. And it's like,
I'll watch the episodes of reality TV and I'll see people in their house is a little messy. I'd be like, why didn't they clean up? And I was like, as if my house would be clean when people came over with cameras.
exactly. And if it was clean, I knew people was like,
Yeah.
someone was coming over with the cameras.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be reality.
Yeah,
It would be
either
me
way.
putting on
Mm-hmm.
an act. Yeah. I love reality TV.
I do too.
And I was into like the dating reality TV one
Okay.
from like MTV days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever like heard of like Next. Did you
Mhm.
ever like stuff like that? Yeah.
Room Raiders.
Yes. So good. Wow, joy just filled me up.
What was the one? I don't remember. It was like on in the early 90s on MTV. It was like the it wasn't Match Game, but Cupid. They had like the big chair with
Oh,
the
I know what
around
you're
it.
talking about.
John Hamm was like on it at one
Yes,
point.
I know what you're talking
That
about.
I remember that being on. And
Yeah.
I felt like kind of MTV's first iteration of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely my thing into reality TV. And then now I do stick with the dating ones still.
Like The Bachelor.
I did start with The Bachelor.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that was, I think, that was the first like mature.
Yes, and
Yeah,
especially
dating.
on cable TV.
Yeah, exactly. And they have like I don't know if people know this, but in every country they have like The Bachelor Australia, The Bachelor.
Yeah.
So I watched it back then, and you meet everyone, like whether it's The Bachelor, so the girls, you meet all the girls, and you're like, oh, their chemistry, and you stick with that person, hoping they keep on picking them. That was my thing.
And then currently, what are the dating shows you keep up with?
Currently, of course, Love Island. God, I need to nominate that for your consideration. I cannot believe I did not do that.
We will have to have, well, one, when you brought up the CW shows, that is a topic that I've written down. I was like, we can talk about CW shows and the way that it's transformed us. And Love Island will have to have its own episode because, especially last season, you are the one that got me on it.
I got everyone on
because
it.
I was like, I'm not watching that show. They're like, that's ridiculous. And I was breaking that down on like a metaphysical level. I was like, there's so much to glean from this season, these people. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Every part of it, start to end.
Like,
amazing.
No notes, producers produced, contestants contested.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I would say the producers, that's a really good point. They did a really good job because watching Love is Blind this season, season 6, 7, whatever it is, the producers really dropped the ball.
Hard.
They missed so many good things.
Yeah.
And they should have kind of pushed things. They could have.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, and I also think they're leaning heavier towards the reunion shows for Love is Blind, which I don't know. They're not. Like, if you're going to do a reunion, and I don't know if you're into, like, Housewives.
Little.
I got into my first Housewife franchise earlier this year. It was Potomac. I think that's how you say it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the only one everyone around me was, like, in consensus. With, like, this is the one you should
I have
watch.
heard that is the good one.
Yeah. And their reunions are what make the rest of the season worth it.
Okay.
Because they're allowed to get messy, they're allowed to get in your face, you know, and that is, I mean, if you're being confrontational, that is the level of, I don't know, mess I expect to see on TV, you know?
For sure.
And Love is Blind kind of, I think, I mean, to a good point, the contestants are it's not to a good point. I think the contestants are still very aware of, like, their image.
Yeah, and how they're being portrayed on TV.
Yeah.
But they were all pretty kind to each other in general. Like, nobody was throwing blows.
Well,
once or twice. But in general, like, versus, like, Jersey Shore.
Oh, yes.
Messy.
Wow.
These people are more composed than Snooki was.
Yeah.
Jay, wow.
Yeah.
Sammy, all of them.
All of them. Yeah, that's true. But that's also, like, a different, like, culture, right? Yeah. And I also think coming into, like, reality TV shows now, a lot of people go in it for the
exposure.
Yeah, influencer of it all.
Because if you go look at their pages before they go, it's influencer. Especially Love Island.
Yeah. And I do know, being deep into the Love Island, like, world and lore, producers actually, like, find contestants through social media.
Yes.
So I get why it looks all, you know, they're all, like, in bathing suits and in different countries and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And hot, as they should be, because I love watching hot people on TV.
Why would I watch it otherwise?
Exactly. If I wanted regular, I would just look outside the window.
Yeah. You should go walk down the street.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Love Island is my very tippy top reality TV show.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
If you had told me that 6 months ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. But I 100% agree now.
But, you know, shout out to them for making me not look crazy, because I have been saying Love Island is incredible and people give it a try. And because it started in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
the accents and the lingo, when you're telling an American, it's very hard for them to like really get into and
Mhm.
understand. So when I was going on and on about it, I'd be like, no, you have to watch the UK, the first season and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it never really hit. So
Yeah.
shout out to the US for giving us a really, really good season.
They did a perfect job.
Yeah,
Perfect job.
they did.
So I think if we're talking about why we love TV, it's a comfort to us
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when we were talking about shrinking, there's so much emotion that we can get from it and learn
Yeah.
from it. And I think another thing too is you get a glimpse, even if they're fictional or kind of, amped up for TV, into a different world that you would never, or maybe would never experience otherwise.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
it can really broaden your horizon.
Yeah. And I think every TV show, I want to say, hits spots of like human interaction.
Yes.
Whether you have a crush on somebody or whether someone makes you sad or whether, like, no matter what the plot is or
Mhm.
the premise of the show is, there are these interactions that I think we could just all relate to on some level. Because, I mean, what do we know about working in a paper company
Mhm.
in, is it
Now that you just asked me that, I'm like, what is Scranton?
It's Scranton. It's Scranton. Yes. Yeah. What do we know, right? But best show ever.
Yeah, and I was watching Love Island, I was telling my husband, I was like, no, there is so much, like, if you're thinking about this from these people's perspective, like, it's so, even if they know it's just for TV, they still are very invested in it.
Yeah.
And they're doing it.
Yeah.
And the same with like the production, they're working hard to like produce this, and there's so much to, even if it's just a reality show.
Yeah.
There's something to get from it.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why we love TV so much.
That's why we love
there's
TV.
something to get from it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. In terms of TV shows that you grew up watching,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever? Okay, so like, when was the first time you delved into like a procedural show? Because NCIS is
Mhm.
big, SUV is big. Did you ever get into those?
I watched Lost. That's a little less of a procedural show, but that was like one of the more dramatic shows
Yeah.
that we watched as a family. And then Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, that's
That
fine.
was.
Yeah,
I mean, I've trailed off that for a while.
yeah.
But
They're still going.
yeah,
They got Sophia Bush coming in.
I know, and they hooked me right back in.
Me
now,
too.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna watch it now.
I'm gonna season 27, and I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. I probably won't go back and rewatch the other
Oh,
episodes
no.
to
No.
catch up. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What about you?
So my first ever like procedural, Bones.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see that?
Just a little bit. It's because it's one of those shows that was like always on TNT or
Yeah.
TBS.
Yeah.
So I'd watch it.
Yeah.
On.
I was really invested in this. I think she was like an archaeologist.
Mhm.
And the cop, her helping him, the little like love brewing underneath the surface, and yeah, just every case being different. I was like, oh, I can get into this, and I think archaeology is really cool. I think anyone can.
Did
be
you want to
interested
be
in
an
that.
archaeologist after that?
I did not. Not at all. But I just thought, oh, this is a really cool show that I don't know like anything about in terms of like archaeology.
Yeah.
But I'm hooked. So it was Bones, Grey's Anatomy. In terms of like therapy
Mhm.
TV shows, I think Grey's, I would say, is the first one that like came into the TV world giving us that.
Mhm.
I think every episode with Meredith like starting the narration of like, I don't know, a life lesson or something you could take from it and weep or whatever.
It also gave us How to Save a Life by The Fray, which I will forever think of Grey's Anatomy whenever I hear the song.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. God, the first like 4 or 5, I'll give it 6 seasons, were really good.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah.
good.
They were good until characters kind of started dropping off.
Yeah. Yeah. But shout out to Shonda Rhimes
Oh, yeah.
and all she has given us.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's given us, but I'm really not into it, is the Netflix show.
Bridgerton.
Yes.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, neither. I've tried. It's not a bit of me.
Really?
That's
I'm kind of
okay.
surprised, though.
That's what everyone says.
I've heard it's pretty spicy.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. But I just, because it's so, it's meant to be like old times, but they've
Mhm.
modernized it.
Yeah.
My brain is not allowing it.
Yeah.
My brain is like, what universe is this set in? What time are we in? I don't like it. Yeah.
I wonder if the books are that way. I haven't read the books either.
I haven't either.
My
Yeah.
grandmother is currently reading the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like,
Did she
"Grandma,
have thoughts?
does she have any thoughts on
Yeah.
it?"
Has she shared any thoughts?
I don't know. She just said she was reading it. She's probably keeping them to herself.
Fair. I wonder, I mean, I feel like books are always more in depth and
Yes.
stuff. So in terms of spiciness, I feel like it would be more spicy in the book.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because it leaves a lot to your imagination too.
Yeah.
You can fill in the blanks as how you want.
Yeah. I love that for your grandma. Does she know about the shows?
I think so.
Okay.
She probably watches those too. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll leave that between her and herself.
That's another thing I love about TV shows is that there is an audience. Like whatever you want to put out, you will find your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be even the person you're expecting to really be into it, but yeah, I think there's just an audience for whatever you want to put out, and I think that's a beautiful thing because as we were like saying before, like the ages you might watch something in
Mm-hmm.
hits differently. So I can see myself being 76 and finally like understand. I don't know how old I don't know why I aged her that, but and finally being like, oh, I like Bridgerton. I can see that for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's around 76. Yeah, good call.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I'm very curious to see where TV goes because
Yeah.
it's changed so much with streaming.
Yeah.
In a way, I love streaming because I can sit on my couch and I have access to any show I want to watch ever.
Yes.
And it's amazing. But it does kind of and because of that, there's so much to watch.
Yeah.
But you're not flipping through the channels. You don't stumble across The Office. You don't like happen across these things, and that is kind of the sad part of it.
Yeah.
But that's how it's changed, and so I'm curious to see moving forward how it changes too.
Yeah.
But I will always love it, no matter what.
Same here. Yeah. And I feel like it really relies on the internet more now to let you know of like what's coming up and what's being released and put out.
I think with this podcast, I'm going to have to keep a calendar of like when shows are coming out and on because it's all over the place now. Like you're saying, it used to be you had Sweeps Week and like all this stuff. And now it's one's coming out September 21st, one's October 3rd, one's November 5th. And it's like, I don't know. There's usually one I'm looking forward to. So I remember the date and the rest of them. Like,
whatever. Yeah. Same here. Fully same here. Yeah. I did have something else to say about why I love TV.
Do you refer to your notes on that one?
Maybe.
Yeah, go to them. While you're doing that, I'm going to also state that one reason I wanted to do this podcast is to allow or give people the permission to say TV when people ask, what do you like to do? Because that's what I want to say. But that's not, nobody likes that answer.
It's not a respectable answer out here in society.
Yeah.
And that does need to change.
It should be.
I agree. I really agree.
If you say, if you told me your favorite activity to do is TV, I'd be like, there's so much for us to talk about. There is so much for us to talk about here.
Yeah.
And so I want to change that.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your other thing you loved about TV?
In terms of all the vast TV there is now because of streaming, what I love about TV is also the really bad ones that are just there.
Yeah.
You know, a guilty pleasure.
Yes.
That the plot might not make sense sometimes, or it's just silly, or it's, I don't know, fantastical.
Yeah.
You know?
And ones that, like, the plot is not consistent. Like, you can watch an episode from season 3, episode 4, and you don't need to know what's happened between season 1.
No, not at all.
Which is wild to me that you said that and you have such a big grudge against the Big Bang Theory because that is 100% what that show is.
Wow, no. And I don't know if I want
you don't know
the listeners to know my feelings about the Big Bang Theory.
People-
See, I'm stuttering. I have deep feelings about the show. And like the baseline of it is, I do not like it. I think it cheapens comedy. That's my thing about it.
That is a fair point.
Yeah.
That is a fair point.
Yeah. But you're saying you can pick up any episode and just
You don't need to know what's going on. You
Yeah.
got your characters. Their tropes are very well established within like even the first scenes that they're in season 5.
yeah.
You pick up on it so quickly.
Yeah, it's fair. I don't know. I just think in terms of the Big Bang Theory, and let's talk about it for a second.
Okay.
And let's talk about those kind of shows. So it was like the Big Bang Theory. What else can I group in there? 2.5 Men. That might
Mhm.
be a little to talk about because of, who. What else could I? But I found 2.5 Men funnier. than
Yeah.
The Big Bang Theory. I don't know what else to group in there. Just I'm trying to think of when they were nominated for like award shows.
Mm-hmm.
They were in like, first of all, they sweeped up.
Yeah.
That also pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because I could not understand it, but they really sweeped up their categories every single
Yeah, they
year.
really did.
Yeah,
And they were on TV for
a long time until they made this
Young Sheldon.
little spin off. Let me not even give them the airtime.
We're gonna have to really delve into this later, for
Yeah.
sure. Can I make a confession to you though?
Oh God.
I've watched a lot of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh God. Podcast over. It was really nice knowing you all. Chelsea's opinions.
I've never ever said to you that it was a good show.
That's fair.
I've never, but I've watched a lot of it.
Okay.
Watched a lot of it.
Out of like, you put it on, it was just on.
I sought it out and watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was intentional.
Yeah, it was. But it was an intentional mindless watch.
Okay.
It didn't require a lot of thinking, but it still had a couple little quippy segments,
Yeah.
and the relationship between some of the characters was very cute.
Yeah.
And so it was something to put on.
Yeah.
Background
I've seen
TV.
a couple of episodes. I'm not even gonna try to be convinced. I love that.
Yep. We'll get into it.
And I'm so glad you actually confessed because that.
I know, I was gonna keep that to myself.
No, you should. That's another thing. Like what you like. I
Absolutely.
might go in and tell you how shit it is
Yeah.
and all this stuff, but I think you should stand firm in what you like. Because
Yeah.
there are TV shows I'm also embarrassed to talk about, but
And
Oh,
those will
God.
reveal themselves.
yeah, in time.
Yeah.
In time. I used to actually think, no, I was never embarrassed by Love Island. I was never embarrassed
Yeah.
by Love Island.
I remember I was watching 30 Rock for the first time, second tally of mention of it. And I was telling my friend Ellen, she's like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, 30 Rock, it's so good." And she was like, "Is it kind of like The Office?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Those shows are dumb. I like Bones," which Bones is a good show.
Yeah.
But it's a procedural show, so she
Yeah.
thought that made it like smart. And I was like, 30 Rock is very smart.
yeah, very, very smart. Also, like apples and oranges.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we comparing these TV shows to each other?
Yeah.
They have their
That's funny.
they each have their own place.
They do. Now I'm trying to think about like my most embarrassing TV show that I love and watch, but I go through the internet and I scour. I don't know. I like type in TV show drama this channel, and I just scour that and see what I can like put on, and I watch the first episode. And for example, the CW right
Mhm.
now they have a show. I could not tell you what it's called. Could I tell you what it's called? Oh, Sullivan's Crossing.
Okay. I have not even heard of that.
Chad Michael Murray's in it.
Well, now you got me interested.
Exactly. It's pretty solid, but it's terrible.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a guilty pleasure that I like binged. It's on its second season right now, and I love it. But would I champion it? Would I tell everyone here to listen, like to watch it?
Mhm.
No, watch it at your own risk.
Yeah.
Let me say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't watch it thinking, oh, Ellen said this is gonna be so amazing, and I'll laugh or cry, and it's not that. It's just a little, I don't know, little thing for my heart to feel.
And that's how it look. And I think I called it Buddies. It's called Happy's. Reba's new show. It's new. Okay. I'm getting used to it.
There.
It's the kind of the same thing. Like it's a cute little show to watch.
Yeah.
It's comforting. You know, it provides a 30 minutes, 20 minutes to just enjoy it,
Yeah.
just for it to be there.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, ultimately what TV does for a lot of people.
Yeah. Just to enjoy it. So don't get in your head about if it's good enough or if people will, I don't know, if it's worth for a bigger conversation or something.
Yeah.
Put something on.
Yeah.
And if it makes you feel things, continue watching it because that's awesome.
Yeah, good things and bad things sometimes.
Yeah, and bad things sometimes.
Well, I could talk about this forever.
Agree.
And I think actually we are going to be talking about it
forever.
so that'll be good. And then the next episode will be our official pilot episode.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about pilot episodes.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
I am too. Yeah. And that will be, I got a question.
Yeah.
This could be talked about after.
Yeah. Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yes.
What is logistics talk? Well, off mic.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, this was exciting. I think it went really well.
It was. And hopefully you guys got to know a little bit about us and why we love TV and why we think we're the best people for the job to tell you about TV.
At the very least, we've watched a lot.
A lot. Like a lot. We've put in hours of research.
And it's finally going to pay off. I knew I was doing it for something. I knew it was valuable.
Me too.
I knew there was a purpose.
Listen, career, I had that in mind. I'm like, one day.
Somebody's going to pay me to watch TV.
Exactly. And here we are.
Not getting paid, but
still
watching TV.
Yeah. Worth it if you ask me.
Should we create a sign off?
I think we should.
Like, go watch TV or
Yeah.
keep that TV warm. That's very outdated, like, reference.
Yeah. I'm go watch TV.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, go watch some TV.
Go watch some TV.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.